4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Levy offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
Welcome to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Levy. I'm Levy.
I'm Snooks.
And today we have a special treat for all of you. This has been a long time coming. So each and every one of us, we've talked about building an iron tribe. We've talked about surrounding yourselves with other couples, like-minded couples that are going to be, let's call them assets for your marriage as opposed to liabilities. And it's important because, like we've always talked about, and you guys are probably getting sick and tired of us talking about this, but it goes back to what my mom said, what my grandmother said: show me your friends and I'll show you who you'll become. Mm-hmm. So there is a special couple that we have invited on today. I mean, you can see like, ooh, he married well, if you're watching YouTube. So today we actually have Quest and Faith Green in the house.
Woohoo!
And I don't have all the special sound effects to get the applause and all that.
That's why I snap my fingers.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm excited. I'm excited.
So how are you two doing?
I mean, I can't complain, man. Faith?
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay, good. As long as she said we're good, then we're good.
Amen.
He said, I can't complain, babe. Oh, okay. We good.
Right.
We're good.
I like that. Okay, love you.
Oh, that's the real deal. That's the real deal.
Yeah.
Look, for those of you that aren't familiar with Quest and Faith, I want to give you two an opportunity to kind of talk about who you are, what you do. Snooks wants to dive all the time into the love story.
I haven't said anything, so go ahead.
So we're Quest and Faith Green. I am a marriage coach. I'm also the CEO of the greenhouse you see back there. It is a marriage community. We the three pillars of the company are love, lifestyle, and legacy. We try to get couples to realize that those three pillars should help them in times of difficulty and challenge, focus on what's most important. We do it through community, through conferences, and through coaching. We try to get couples to realize that their differences should bring them together and not draw them apart. And that's not an easy thing to do. But that's pretty much who we are. We help them, and my wife keeps me sane, because you take on a lot when you, as you guys know, you take on a lot when you're coaching. All right. And if you're not careful, you can lightweight bring some of that own stuff into your mix, and you don't want that. So she's the one who keeps me sane. And she is the one who is the apple of my eye, the one that I make sure that if she's good, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the long and short of who I am. And
nice.
And who, yeah.
See, and I want everybody to know, how did you, like, people are like, okay, how do you guys know each other? And I just got to put it out there that when I first became an extreme execution coach, and ET was coaching me, and he was like, okay, what's your niche? What's your focus? What's your passion? What are you going to do? And when I said, it's all about marriage, and he was like, oh, you got to meet Quest. That was the first thing he said. And about a year later, our paths crossed, and we were able to really link up. And Quest is extremely, extremely humble. And what he didn't tell everyone is that he's also the director for Thank God I'm Married for Eric Thomas and Associates. And Quest invited us on to kind of assist every now and then because his plate is so full. And that's how we initially met. And it was just, we vibed ever since then. And I've been dying to get the two of you on. And every now and then I hear Faith coming in. I've seen some clips. She brings the heat at your conferences.
And here's the funny thing. She's always fighting and doesn't want to be out in the front. But when she gets there, she takes my mic out of my hand and goes off. You know what I'm saying? Goes left field quick.
I tell him if the spirit moves me.
Oh, if the spirit moves. Well, the spirit been moving a lot at the conference.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
One thing that you said earlier, Quest, about just protecting yourself. You know, we think about when you talk about self-care, you know,
Mhm,
relationships need self-care too. I thought that was a very good point that you made
mhm.
about being careful of what we bring into our marriages and our relationships, especially being coaches. And we're also very vulnerable, you know, and when you have couples talking to you guys, and some of that might jump off. Faith might not like how the other lady said something, or the man said something, and anything could come up, and you might not like how someone said something, and before you know it, y'all might be arguing about something another couple was talking about. So I just thought that was very good point that you made. You know, being very careful. You have to guard yourselves
Yeah,
um, from any outside forces, because they will come.
yeah. I think for me personally, one of the ways that I guard myself as of late, we always talk about the priorities. I'm a huge advocate, and I'm driven behind priorities, specifically in family. Like for me, it's God, it's faith, it's the kids, it's work, it's extended family, and then everything else after that. And I would always say it, and it got to a point for me, Snooks, where it was just like, all right, that's cute that you say that. Are you behaving in real, ways that are evident?
Mm-hmm.
I always like to say we need to be evidence producers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of my priority list. And so over the last, and I've always been one to try my best to keep God first, but I've really started, and I have this thing where I'm up, down in terms of my walk. And as of late, because I know that this is, I don't know for you guys, but for us, it's a strange season. There's a lot going on where I'm looking at my marriage differently. I turn 50 next year. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but this is the last year of the 49. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I'm really paying attention to, are you the man who you claim to be?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't want my talents or my gifts to take me to a place that my character can't keep me. And he says it over and over again that it's an inside job. So what I've done is I've got myself a Bible reading plan. And every morning, Faith knows now that I get up at about 6:15, 6:30, and the weather's warm. So I go out on the back patio. And I'm thankful Faith said, I want a pergola. So we went and put a pergola up in the back. And I go out there and I sit every morning. It was for her, but I'm enjoying it during worship time. I spend my time reading whatever is on the agenda that morning. And then after that, praying for myself, for my family, for people. And then I just kind of sit back for a while. I do some reading in terms of, because as coaches, we're always reading marriage books, just to keep ourselves abreast. But one of the ways that I protect myself is by doing that in the morning, sitting after I read. God, what are you trying to say to me concerning what I read this morning? What does it mean for my marriage? What does it mean for me as a father, as a husband? So as you speak to this thing called protecting yourself, there's actually ways that we can do that. And I don't know about no other better way than to hooking up with the Creator in the morning, in the first of the day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
That's interesting. I love hearing you say that,
Mhm.
because I don't know if you remember the very first piece of advice that you gave me,
Yeah.
our very first conversation. And I always ask, what is the one thing that if I was to do this one thing that would make everything else that much easier when it comes to helping other couples?
Mhm.
And you said, be a voracious reader.
Yep.
Read.
Read.
And,
Yep.
and so I love hearing that. And it's funny because you were talking about, being the congruency. Are you the man that God intends you to be?
Mhm.
And I just had a conversation with someone the other day about how you can be right and move wrong, but rarely can you move right and be wrong.
Man.
And I love how you're saying that, but I don't want to go too far into the super depths of coaching a marriage, because I really want to hear about the love story. Once upon a time.
Yeah.
That part. Anyway, I I get to ask those questions. This is the fun part for me. So I want to know, I mean, we know, but I want everyone else to know how y'all met. And I think it's super cute, but I want you to tell the story of how you met. So whoever starts first.
My version or his version?
Well, I was getting ready to say whoever starts first.
My version is the truth. So, I mean.
I want to hear Faith.
Oh, well, my truth is we met while
Your truth or the truth?
Yeah, the truth.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was 15, 16 years old, high school. His sister and I were very good friends in high school. And he had already left. He was, he had graduated already, but I was always over her house. She was always over my house. Mm-hmm. And that's how I got to know his family and of course, himself and knew that, he will claim that, I was giving him the eye. I'm like, I was 16.
Faith, I saw you.
I don't know if I was really giving you the eyes, but
Faith, I saw you. There's some fascinating girls.
And he's what, 4 years older than I am. So I think he was giving me the eye, but but our parents would have killed us at the time. So fast forward, we graduated high school. I went off to college. His sister went off a separate direction. And so we kind of lost touch afterwards. And I don't know how many years passed. I was in.
We bumped into each other a couple of times when I moved back to New York.
Right. But kind of lost touch. And then my job relocated me from New York to here, Charlotte, and it was 2008 or 2009.
Well, we tried to connect before that because you were visiting your aunt in Atlanta and I was living in Atlanta at the time.
Yeah, but I was already here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I had literally just moved to Charlotte in February of 2009 because I started with my company that I'm still with to this day in 2008, and they relocated me in February of 2009. I reconnected with him in August of that year, and via Facebook. I was visiting.
Shouts out to Meta. Right.
And so came across, we came across each other, and he knew I had she told you, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, guess who I reconnected with and whatever. Right. And I was going to be in Atlanta. He was in Atlanta. I was in Charlotte, and I was going to be in Atlanta visiting my aunt at the time who lives in Atlanta. And so he, hit me up and was like, oh, I hear you coming to visit my sister. We need to, meet up, whatever, because his sister was also living in Atlanta at the time. And so that's how we kind of reconnected. And then from there, we started dating after that. His sister wasn't too happy about that in the beginning. Because she was like, that's my friend and all of that. But, she I
was like, shut up. I made your best friend your sister. Shut up.
Yeah.
Right.
She grew to love it. And so, the rest is history. I mean, we dated for about a year and change. Mm-hmm. And after that, we got engaged. And planned our wedding another year.
She came down to visit me for my birthday. And
in
then
August,
from that weekend forward, I think for every weekend for a whole year, I was either in Charlotte or she was in Atlanta.
We would alternate. Alternate weekends. Mm-hmm. So I would go to him one weekend. The next weekend he would come to me.
She couldn't get enough.
Oh no, sounds like it was going both ways.
Right.
It's like truth. Isn't it funny how I picked up on him when Faith, was given dates, and then she said, and then in August of that year, how do they do that?
I don't know.
That's the details.
Women have, it's already bad that she's a 99C. It's already bad. If you ask me, it's 199, but that's a whole nother conversation for another time. But it is crazy the way that they can attach a date I think what it is that, and y'all probably study it as well. Women have this emotional cord that runs through them that allows them to attach a particular event to a date, and it's burned onto their brain. And then once that happened, oh, I remember that happened to January 23rd at 3:00 on. I'm like, oh,
yeah. But don't ask me to remember people's names, or he'll say, don't you know that person? We met them in, and I'm like, huh? Like, I don't
Pretty
remember
selective. That's,
Yeah.
that's so funny.
That's
She's the
so
same way.
funny.
Oh, and you were wearing XYZ, and remember you came with so and so, and my, that person was there, and I'm like, I kind of remember the month.
that.
I was in the vicinity.
We pay attention to detail. That's just it. I'm just saying.
So let me ask you, Quest. So was that pretty accurate?
No, that's very it's accurate to an extent. It's her truth. I'm happy wife. You can say
Yeah, right. Why dispute it, right?
Let me tell you what actually happened. I was in my first year of college, but I stayed home for my first year. I was at Middlesex County, and she once again, her and my sister, there was her, Maria, Shannon, and Faith, and all four of them, they always would be at my house. And I lived in a townhome, which was right behind my high school. So I was up on the third floor. That's where my hangout spot was. And so I had to pass my sister's bedroom to get to the stairs to go up to the loft. And so every time I would pass, I would catch her peeking out the thing. And I look back at, oh, okay, yep, I see you. She was cute. She was definitely cute. I won't lie that. She had this nice little bob haircut. She was a cute little thing in high school, right? And I was like, oh, if you're a little older or whatever, she was shooting the eye. I know she was.
That is hilarious. Okay, so
That's so funny.
you two are funny, but so the fact that you guys went and had your lives to a certain extent, right? And then refound each other. What was it about the reconnection that really attracted you two to each other?
I don't know. Of course, for us, we're visual, right? So it's always the physical thing first. But I had already lived like a life. Like I was married, divorced, 7 years single, and
Had a child.
Yep, had a daughter. When I remember how she was. When she was, Faith was always cool, very cool individual. I always loved her disposition as a friend, as my sister's friend, of course. And we would talk, she'd come over to the house from time to time, and we would short conversations, but they were always cool, We were always the big brothers that, like, for real, when we were out at the club, they would end up coming in when they got of age and like, oh, I tell my boys, all right, my sister and friends here tonight, look out for everybody. So we kind of looked out for everybody, watching when we were living in South Brunswick, New Jersey at the time. We're originally from New York, but our parents, of course, they wanted to get out of the city. So they thought bringing us to the suburbs, and we ended up right back in New York anyway. But there's house parties and everybody knows everybody in those towns, right? And so we were kind of like, whenever we went out, they wanted to go out with us as well. But I remember her disposition from back then and who she was X amount of years later. She was the same person. And I love that about her. I mean, and of course she was older. She was a little bit more
Mature.
Yeah, I was
We get it.
Let's keep it PG. No.
She had grown in certain ways. Hallelujah. And so I was like, man, Faith is looking good. Right. And then I contacted her on, a little Facebook Messenger, and we went back and forth. And just in conversing with her, I'm just like, yo, this is the same disposition and everything. And I found out more when she started visiting for the weekends. And when we went through that year, I'm just like, man, I love this chick. As a matter of fact, when it got to the end of the year, I'm like, all right, enough is enough. It don't take a whole day to recognize sunshine. Let's,
Come on.
you know what I'm saying? What are we going to do? Barbecue or mildew? And so, I spoke to her. We had numerous conversations about marriage, what we wanted to do, where we were going to go. And I remember telling E when we first started dating, I was like, yo, E, I'm starting to date again. And he was like, word? He's like, first thing he said, do she love the Lord? I'm like, yeah, she loved the Lord. right? And so we started talking some more. And then when it was time to have I was like, okay, I need you and Dee got to do this premarital because we about to go in. And they did. A year later, we're down in DR and he's doing the ceremony. And here we are 11 years later.
Mhm.
And by the way, congratulations. I saw this tiny little ceremony that took place over in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
It was a little tiny something.
A little something.
A little something. And it breaks my heart because we were supposed to be there.
Man.
Yeah.
Man, like and it was a couple of people that were missing that we really was like, and y'all are definitely one of those people that we hoped y'all would be there. Don't worry though. Citizens and the Greens got a lot of stuff they will be doing in the near future together.
I will say that when he and I first reconnected, I moved from New York. Like I said, my company relocated me, but it was really a godsend.
Mm-hmm.
God orchestrated the entire reload, because otherwise I wouldn't have reconnected with him. I was in New York and he was in Atlanta. It definitely would, like, that long distance really would not have worked. Mm-hmm. But also I had just gotten out of a 7-year relationship that was total like chaos, and just extremely bad.
So you're telling me I saved you?
Okay. He always wants to take that role. Okay. But I say all of that to say that the day, it was either that day or that week, when I moved to Charlotte, I started just dating, trying to get to know people here the first few months and stuff like that. And I met someone who had this exact same red flags that I had just gotten out of a relationship from. And right away, I was just like, nope, not going to do that again. I just got out of the 7-year relationship that was just torture and just very toxic. And I got away from that. I'm here in Charlotte, new beginning, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I just broke down and started, like, I got on my knees and I started praying and I said, God, I'm done. Like, if you have someone for me, right, you're going to have to send him to me, right? Because I'm so done with trying to find someone. I'm just over it. And I don't want to keep repeating the same cycle and the same, I just keep meeting the same type of person. Right. And that same exact week, he sends me a message.
God said, I'm gonna hook you up.
And that's how we reconnected. And so here we are, like you said, 11 years later.
It's faith I saved you.
Do you remember what that feeling was like when you got that text or that message from him? After.
No, but what did I say to you?
We had a conversation and she was like, men are ish.
I said flat out, I was like, I'm so over
and
the
she
whole
was
thing.
Like, men ain't about ish. Yeah. And I said, no, not all, man. By this time, God had already been working on me. I dated a little bit as well. And, nothing serious that I saw. No, that's not the one last relationship, but there was just one thing or a couple things that I was like, once you married and divorced, you don't have a high tolerance for foolishness, especially when you serious about your life and where you're going after, right? In terms of relationship. And I dated someone, and I have nothing bad to say, but there were just one or two things that I was just like, I can't do relationship with that thing present.
Right.
And I knew that it wasn't going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And so that and then when Faith came along and she said, men ain't about ish. She was like, men ain't. I was like, no, sweetheart, not all of them. She was like, yeah. I was like, yep. I said, give me an opportunity to prove it to you.
And then the story was written.
Yep.
It's funny though, and folks, I don't want you guys to miss this. For those of you that are in that same place, men ain't ish, women ain't ish. I'm just trying to figure this thing out. First of all, congratulations for listening and trying to get some notes on when you turn the corner. But I think that there's a bar in that, because when you get to the point where you stop looking, you're not at the club hunting, you get off the killing ground, so to speak.
Wow.
And you just be, right? And you're just like, I'm going to live my life. And, and you live the life that Faith prayed, that if something's going to happen, you're going to bring them to me. You're going to package them up, put a bow on them, and make sure I know.
Right. It's a total surrender.
I love that.
That's big.
It is. Surrender is a great word. Simply because a lot of times, look, there's no question about it. We're all people of faith. And when we talk about our Christianity, I was pointing out to somebody the other day that when you look throughout the Bible, to a person, I don't care who it is, if you pick a Bible hero, every single one of those individuals, God didn't seek them out. God didn't say, oh, you know what? This person's doing phenomenally well. I'm going to go ahead and bless them even further. It was somebody was broken. Somebody had to surrender to God in order for that grace to be extended and for them to actually end up becoming that hero that for generations, for eons, that we're all looking at as examples. And it's that word surrender. And I think that's huge, that we need to surrender in our relationships, surrender to God in order to have the relationships.
Yep. But when you really take stock though, E, and you look at the foundational chapters of the Bible as it relates to surrender, when you look at Ephesians 5, right, where it tells husbands to love your wives as Christ loved the church, and it tells wives to honor or respect your husbands. That's really what it is at the end of the day, love and respect. But at the end of the chapter, it just ties a nice little bow on it. However, Paul says, husbands, love your wives. Wives, reverence your husbands. If that is not in alignment with surrender, I don't know what is.
Come on.
Because it's calling husbands to do what they don't do naturally. We move by respect.
Right.
Like if you come from the area of, I still got a little bit of residue of the hood left in, you know what I'm saying? Even though God has been a blessing over the couple of years, and there's a code of respect. You talk crazy to another man on the block, he liable to go in your mouth, right? Or worse, right? You know that like if Pookie doing X, Y, and Z, you keep your mouth shut. You even if you don't agree, there's still a level of respect you got to move with, right? Women love naturally, right? It's the respect part. They speak freely, you feel me? And I find it quite interesting that God would call us to do the thing that we don't do naturally. He calls women to respect, and he calls us to love, and he calls us to initiate the process. So before I do this, I have to surrender to you as my creator so that I can properly love her the way that you love me. And in doing so, it sets this whole dynamic in motion, because the way that she's wired, if you love her the way that she needs to be loved, she's going to look for a way to reciprocate. But at the beginning or the foundation of it all is surrender.
I love that.
And I think that that's like, for real, you said it. It's foundational to everything that we do, that word right there. If we would learn to do that, we can change all the marriages.
Come on, teach. Teach. Here's the funny thing. I was telling Snooks this beforehand. Several months ago, we actually it's probably about a year ago. We're lining up a list of people that we want to invite on the show. And aside from yourselves, there were like some coaches, and Snooks, I'm calling you out. She was like, why are you going to have a bunch of other marriage coaches on our show? And the funny thing about it though, and this is the analogy that I use, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, Quest, is that if you look at a guitar is a beautiful instrument.
Beautiful.
But each string on that guitar is a particular note. You play those notes individually, they're beautiful. But if you play those notes together,
come on,
they operate for the glorification, if you will, of the instrument, right? You make beautiful music using all the notes. But some people like songs that are played in the key of E. Some people like in the key of C. Some people like in the key of G. But if you play those notes and you allow them to actually be strummed together, and it's glorifying that. I think each and every one of us coaches,
Mhm.
the ones that are, I feel like that are based on God's word and that are really truly doing it for God's glory,
Mhm.
we're nothing more than individual strings on the same instrument. And when you strum us together, when you play us together, when you it's for the glorification of God and the covenant that He's given us. And that's why I was like, I told her, that's why I want to have it, because we might say something and it might not resonate with somebody. But what if Quest and Faith are talking in a different key but it's all for the glory of God. So we need to have more
synergy.
that synergy.
It's
And
like
so
Oh, Faith said it's like Voltron. What you know about that Voltron, Faith?
oh,
The Lions were dope individually, but they used to get their tail handed to them a couple of times when they
Come
come
on.
against that. But when they come together as Voltron and they form that blazing sword, my.
Faith
I
over there
love it.
teaching.
Come on.
So here, a couple more questions, and then I want to get into the greenhouse. One of the questions I want to ask is, what is something that, so you've been together 11 years, thereabouts? Oh, I think they froze. Did we freeze up? Let me pause it. Okay, one of the questions I want to ask you is, what is something, after 11 years of marriage, what is something that you each, this is for both of you each believed early in your marriage, coming into the marriage, that over time and maturity that you've discovered that, no, that's not quite what I thought it was going to be, right? What has not stood the test of time that you thought early on, but in that discovery has made your marriage that much more rich? Does that make sense?
I think for me, it's my misconceptions about leadership. And I see it evident even in my children, especially Nico. I realize that leadership is so much more about helping whoever you're leading get to their destination, much more than it is about actually leading in and of it. Servant leadership, if you will. There are some things that I want to see happen, but they will never happen unless I do them consistently so that they can see. I realize that, and I don't mean it in a derogatory term. Please hear what I'm telling you. Women want to be led in their families by their husbands. And they want to be led in such a way where they can depend on their husbands to be the strong. And when I'm talking about physical strength, I am, but I'm not. I'm talking about spiritually strong, mentally strong. And I'm talking about all of these qualities that most people may think are macho, but within the context of servant leadership. I don't beat her over the head about her relationship with God. I get up every morning and I'm supposed to do. And if I do it right, it will have an effect on my family. In the beginning, I used to think like, you get up and you tell you to do this, and you run the house, right? And when they don't do it, then you try to control or you try to manipulate in order to get the end result that you're looking for. It's an inside job. And when I say inside, I'm not talking about inside the relationship. It is, but I'm talking about inside me as an individual. I'm in the presence of God and have Him mold and shape and cut. And whenever He's done molding and shaping and cutting, that He does perfectly, His plan is perfect. He will have me moving in this house, and then He'll have His Spirit move on the rest of the individuals in the home. And guess what? Everybody, simply because of servant leadership. And I'm learning more and more that I
Strong-willed.
when He wants to do that. Case in point, we were in the car the other day, and whenever we were walking anywhere, Nico likes to walk out in the front. All right. And 9 years old. And when he's walking now, he walks, but he doesn't know exactly where he's going. We'll make a turn because he's not sure. He just likes the fact that he's walking in the front. And I have to say, Nico, we're going in this direction. Well, why are we not going in that direction? Because that's not where we're going. He'll actually ask these questions. So I say to him, leadership is so much more than just being out in the front. It's helping people get to their destination. The other night we went to dinner. And so we were coming back to the parking lot. He's walking out in front again. And he said, I helped everybody get to the car. See, I told you I could be a leader. But I realized that he's taking in the information, but he is processing it like he would as a 9-year-old, right? And so I'm trying to get him to understand. I don't want to take away his strong will. He said to me, us in the car the other night, I'm tired of people telling me what I can and can't do. If daddy's a leader, I can be a leader too. And I'm going to prove you wrong that I can be a leader. And I was like, Nico, you have to understand that once I didn't just become a leader, if you will. Faith reminded him that daddy was your age at one time, and he had to follow a whole lot of following before he actually got into a place to be a leader. So it's funny. I'm telling y'all, you need to, if you're going to have children, be careful about how you live your life, because they come, boy, and they are the spitting image. When I tell you there are times where I could be stubborn, Nico can be stubborn, and they love to tell me, oh, he's just like you. Thank you. That really helps. Great. Thank you so much. Right? So let him do it now because he's just like me. So what I'm realizing.
No, I don't say it to, to dig or anything. I say it more so that he can have more of an empathy to, or be more compassionate as to why he's doing a particular thing. Like, be more understanding and remind yourself that one day you were that same age and you did that same exact thing. So like, bring it back and, we have to like unlearn and relearn, right? Like, our parents taught us certain things, but they could only take us but so far. Right. And we had to take ourselves the rest of the way. And so he's learning through us, and we could only take him but so far. But that's a perfect example, babe, because as I'm teaching him, he's also teaching me about me and my response to. Exactly. I'm a firm believer in the fact that every difficult, every challenging, every situation of opposition is an opportunity for growth, right? And even when Nico is doing his thing and bucking the system, and I want to hang him like strange fruit, it's an opportunity for me to grow. So if you ask me what it is that I thought was one way in the beginning of our marriage, I'm now understanding that there are certain times where, Faith, you're going to have to take pole position on this one, and whatever you tell me to do, I do. You know what I'm saying? It's the servant leadership that I realize makes this family move exponentially quick in a forward direction.
I like that. What about you, Faith?
And I'm sorry, can you just repeat the question for me? Because I want to make sure that I fully understood it.
Right. Like, so what is something that you believed early in your marriage that has not stood the test of time, and in discovering that has actually made it your relationship that much more rich?
I want to say right off the bat, the first thing that comes to mind is my independence. And when I say independence, I mean feeling like I can do it all by myself. Or, I in the beginning of our marriage, I always felt like, well, if he can't do it, that's fine. I can do it anyway. Like, I'm perfectly capable. And I've done it this far by myself. And, he didn't meet me, out of high school with not a penny. Like, I had my own place, my own car, like I was independent, paying my own bills. I didn't need anybody, and so I came into the relationship, kind of like, well, if this doesn't work, I mean, I was fine. Like, I was independent. I was, like I said, paying my bills. I didn't need it, a man to do those things for me. I'm getting married because I want to get married, not because I needed to, And so I think that perspective has changed into more of a partnership, right? So it's more of, we need each other, more so from a partnership standpoint, and wanting to help each other grow, wanting to not even if I can do something, but by myself, I always try to include him in it, and really try to do things together. Life with each other is so much better than life around each other, right? And so that's, I think that's where a lot, I mean, and I think a lot of couples, when he does coaching and I sit in on some of the sessions, we hear these issues from couples that they've, she has her life, he has his life, his job, her job. They kind of run parallel, but never together. And so it's weird to me, and it's not weird because I can see how it happens, right? Because I was there once. But a marriage is not about that. A marriage is a union. And so you have to be intertwined with each other. You have to do things together. His business, I'm heavily involved in his business, even though I'm not the one personally doing the coaching, but I'm heavily involved.
Telling you what to do, though.
Yes, I do. But on an administrative level. and so, and even, with my stuff, he helps me, with my things. And then of course the children, we discipline them together. We don't like play that role like, oh, you discipline them and I'll, I won't, and I'll do this, or, I'll take the trash out and you do, like, we don't do that here. Like everything, we do things together. And, that's where we stay united. And we keep that connection. And, I think that's where my perspective has changed.
Who are you?
Yeah, shut up. That's with me.
Funny.
I mean, Faith coming with the heat. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
That was good. That's going to be a quote. Life with each other is better than life around each other.
I'm just saying. I wonder where she got that
from. Right.
No,
that is
that's
the greenhouse motto.
So let's talk about greenhouse.
Yeah.
So tell us what exactly is greenhouse? How did greenhouse come to be, and what is it that you do?
Well, first and foremost, we got to name it something when you get into this work, right? What's the company going to be, right? What's the name of the company, And so we were like, our last name is Green. What can we do around the name Green? Because I always wanted it to be something in terms, I was always thinking about legacy, and I want the name to live on, right? And so Green, first thing, greenhouse. I remember we had one named Greenhouse Rules, you know what I'm saying? And it was a play on words, of course. And then I was like, well, babe, if we do the community, I don't want it to be Greenhouse Rules I have in my mind, and maybe God will allow it to come to fruition later on. The Greenhouse Rules is an idea that I had for us to have kind of like a reality kind of show kind of thing. But aside from all the foolishness that you see on TV, like a real marriage operating a real kind of way, challenges and difficulties, and not only the challenges and difficulties, you would see how we would navigate through those challenges and difficulties for a win on the back end, right? Maybe God will allow me to do it later on. I'm not quite sure, but that was something that was always on my mind. Then I took off the rules and was like, a greenhouse. What is a greenhouse? A greenhouse is a place that things grow. Right? My mindset for marriages was always from the beginning, marriages are living things. And if you don't feed living things, they will die.
That's right.
Right? And so it went from coaching to community. The three things really and truly that I always do is my 3 C's, my coaching, my community, and conferences. There were a lot more of coaching and conferences, and people kept coming more and more to the point where Like, I was like, this is not one-on-one. Would you be, turned aside if we had this and I just thought about it more. Why am I asking people when you have a community and people who join your community, like for real, there are things that are being shared in a corporate environment that don't necessarily happen on a one-on-one. And that's just from the thought process and us thinking it over. And that's how the greenhouse marriage community came together, right? And so we meet twice a month where the couples get together. We talk about everything marriage from A to Z, everything, nuts, bolts, the soup and nuts, everything.
The
right?
good, the bad, the sexy.
The good, the bad, the sexy, the ugly, you know what I'm saying? Everything. We talk about it. It's starting to blossom over even more. Come next year, 2023, we're taking our first marriage retreat, all right, our greenhouse marriage getaway. And we're going to the beautiful island of Antigua next year. And so if anybody wants to come along, they can come along, get in contact with us. We'll give you the information. And we're going to do our first getaway there. But we're planning to do some extra things. I'd like to, in the near future, purchase a building, all right, and call it the greenhouse. And have an actual place where we can hold conferences and have events and all marriage related date nights, all kinds of stuff. That's what I want. That's what my vision is for the greenhouse later on, just to begin. But it's basically focused around community, all for the efforts of, I say it all the time, from shaky to good, from good to great. Ultimately, what we want is phenomenal marriages. But phenomenal marriages don't just happen. It takes work. So let's do that work. Right. And we want to create a community and a place and space for marriages to do that.
That's right.
This is good. And listeners, I listen, Iron Tribe. Yes, we're married into crazy, but even as a couple, we need to get fed. We need to grow. And one of the places that we go is to the greenhouse. During the pandemic, we participated in date night. It was the all white.
That was so much
phenomenal.
fun.
We had so much fun.
Oh man, I remember that.
That was so fun.
And that, you see, even stuff like that. Now that, I'm hoping that these numbers don't go back up again to the point of, you know what I'm saying, us having to be quarantined. But I want us to be able. That's why we created this getaway. This right here is lovely, but I need to be in ease and Snooks' face. I need to be able to hug on you. You know what I'm saying? For us to sit down on somebody's beach, 2 more pina coladas, please. You know what I'm saying? And we just sit and you feel what I'm saying, and enjoy each other's company, doing life with one another and not around one another.
So funny. I told Snooks right when you made the announcement, and I was like, "Oh, they're going." And I was like, Antigua. I'm like, "That's on the list. That's on our list. We got to go." And then she's like, "What is it?" Got the calendar out. We're like, "We're just getting back from Turks and Caicos when you guys." So yeah. So
It's annual.
This is gonna be beautiful.
By the time it rolls around, we're already looking at the next place we're going for 2024.
That's what's up.
So it's annual, yeah.
So you talked about people getting in touch with you. Tell the audience how they can actually find the greenhouse.
You can do one or two things. You can go to jquestgreen.com. That's JQUESTGREEN.com. That's one way you can do it. You can email me at info. Email the entire team. Well, Faith and Shonda are the ones who really maintain that box, but info@jquestgreen.com. You can look for me on Instagram at quest_green. You can find me on Facebook.
Yep.
Right at Quest_V. Quest Green. It's just Quest Green, right, at Facebook. And on YouTube, Quest Green. We got tons of marriage videos there. Yeah. We're taking a pause. I'm about to start up again. Keep us lifted. They've beat me over my head, and now I'm in the process of writing the book Quest for Faith, Revealing the Secrets to a Phenomenal Marriage.
Right.
Ooh,
yeah.
Nice.
I love that. Okay, so how do we get I want to get a pre-order. How do I get that pre-order?
As soon as a pre-order is available, I'm going to make sure that you, like, for real, we're going to put it all over the place, but I'm making sure Married into Crazy is one of the first places that we go to in order to get that pre-order information out. Yep.
Talk about a dope title, Quest for
Hey,
Faith.
man, they beat me over my head enough about it, man. So y'all keep your boy lifted.
Got you. We got you. We'll keep you in prayer. Absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful.
So you've been very generous with your time. I think in parting, I think Snooks is going to ask our last question of the evening.
Oh, I am.
You
I
are.
finally get to ask a question.
Oh, I feel the same way, Snooks. When he gets to talking, I'm just like, can I get a
sit
word?
back, right.
She don't be wanting to say nothing, Snooks, and I gotta fill in the gaps. I'm like, are you gonna say anything? No, you go ahead.
Oh my gosh, that is so lovely. Are you gonna say something? I'm like, no, go ahead right now. So anyway. So, okay, we are Married into Crazy, and we know crazy is an acronym for compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding. So of the acronym, what is the hardest or the easiest for each of you to do? So you can break out either the hardest or the easiest.
And again, that's compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, or yielding.
The easiest for me is zealous. I am a high D, but I am a high I as well. And I think I lean more to my I than I do to my D. And so I'm zealous about anything that she wants to do. I'm just excited that she wants to do it. And anything that she wants to do, I'm like, let's go. The most challenging for me would be accountable is not challenging. What's the C again?
Compassionate.
Compassionate. That's not, I don't think that's a
It's not hard
difficult.
for you.
Compassionate, real,
Accountable,
zealous,
zealous,
and
and
yielding.
yielding.
I think yielding would be the hardest, because that means you have to stop and hold yourself up in order to I'm learning how to do it more. But I think it's the most difficult thing for me is the yielding, because now I have to wait.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the difficult one is the easiest for him. The zealous is the difficult one for me, because I'm not as excited as he comes up with these grand ideas, and I'm just like,
Okay.
hey, all right then. So you got a plan for this? I'm like, you need to like give it to me in detail. Like that sounds.
But that's what she's there
nice.
for. I come up with the plans. You just add structure to it. That's it.
So yeah, being zealous is difficult for me. The easiest,
No,
I think the easiest would be compassionate for me, probably.
I would say so.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I would say so. I would say so because Faith is involved with a lot of community-oriented programs. Like at church, she's a major part of community service. She goes on a regular basis to go and feed the homeless.
In the children's ministry
At church. She's a mom. Like
I'm a
Faith,
big mom.
like Faith is a mom.
Nice. Well, look, we feel so blessed. We're so grateful for your time. For those of you that are, so for the entire audience, I'm going to go ahead and list all of those links so you can find Greenhouse and Quest and all the things that he and Faith are doing. So you can actually, and Quest, text me if there's a direct link for the trip to Antigua.
Oh yeah.
Please send it to me so I can put that in the show notes as well.
I'll send it over to you. Jeannie Parr is our travel director.
I know Jeannie. Yeah, so she's the one that handles the stuff for ET. Yeah. So
actually, I was the one who brought her in for Faith, and I brought her in for the first trip we took on for Phenomenal Life. What was it? Was it a cruise? It was a cruise.
Oh yeah, it was a cruise.
It was a cruise.
Yeah.
And then
we found Jeannie for
So we did that.
Oh, she took over. Okay.
We used her actually for, it's funny. What did we use her for? Didn't we use her for DR when we went to Dominican Republic? No, we used Vacations to Go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
But we
But
didn't
not-
use her.
mm-mm.
We used her company.
No, we used her company, but that's why when Eve asked us, we're putting these trips together, can you find someone? I said, well, they did such a great job. Let me go back to them and have them recommend someone to us.
Mhm.
And they recommended her. And then that's how it go. So now she's family.
Full circle.
Right.
That's how it works, right? That's how it works. You show up, you show out, and you become family because I can't be without you now.
Yes, exactly.
It's like us in Greenhouse.
Come
Well, look,
on.
thank you so much for spending time
Thank
with
you
us.
guys, man.
Thank you. We love everything you guys do as well.
Absolutely.
So we are honored that you even asked us to be on it.
Anytime I get to kick it with y'all, though, I don't care what we doing.
Amen. Amen.
He really doesn't
I'm
care.
kind of fun. I don't know, Lovey. He's all right, you know. So
Yeah, look, we'll let you and Faith kind of get together and just chat, and then
Right.
we'll have to
Look.
calm y'all down. Like, no, we're not doing that. Okay, calm down.
It's funny because I was out in Cali recently, but I didn't have the time that I wanted so that I could run around and see a couple of people because I definitely wanted to see you guys and the Hurlings, but time just didn't, and I had to come back and meet her in Sarasota. So I was just like,
it's all right. Hey, that's we just
it's
gotta put
coming
on the
though.
agenda.
It's coming.
That's right.
It's coming.
All right, y'all. Well, take care. Be blessed. And like we say all the time, until the next time,
Be blessed.
bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Levy. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Levy can bless your marriage directly.